this morning's discussion segment, we want to take a look at the lifting of ban on campaigns by political party expectations of Nigerians. You might have heard about hate speech, you might have heard about fake news, you might have heard about warnings given by various quarters warning politicians and electorates not to heat up the polity, not to set the country ablaze, that the campaigns must be issue-based. Remember what happened in 2015 in course of electioneering. Remember also what happened after the electioneering in 2011. Yes, due to campaigns, pitches. Now, what do you think the umpires should do about it? What do you think the electorate should do about it? What do you think the politicians should do about it as they go about the electioneering this period? All these and more we'll take a look at on this discussion segment. Me in the studio, I have a clergyman. Yes, the #1 man when it comes to the youths in Edo State. A political analyst, public affairs commentator, both local and international politics. He's well grounded. Join me. Welcome, Pastor Phil Aroje. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning. Thanks
Appreciate
for having
your
me.
comment.
Thank you so much.
And sitting very close to him is a human rights activist. When we talk about local and international politics, he's well grounded, and of course, he's a lover of the environment. When we talk about so many things that are happening in the polity of Nigeria, he is very much interested. After all, he is a Nigerian. Please join me. Welcome, Leo Atakbo. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your comment.
Yeah. Good morning.
All right. As at yesterday, the ban was lifted, and you've seen various parties coming out with their mantra, with their slogan. All is now set for campaigns to begin. That was as at yesterday. And we've seen very political campaign organization bringing out one or two things, preparing Nigerians to really get to hear what they have in stock for us this season, because it's like a season. Pastor, let me come to you. What do you feel about this, the lifting of the ban?
Yeah, thank you very much. It actually has to do with the timelines of the 2019 general election. The timetable for that election was released as early as February this year. And then we had the primaries, we have the nomination, the submission of the names, and then of course on the 15th was the last day for the replacement of the presidential candidate name, in case any party wanted to do that. And then thereafter, from 15 till another 2 weeks, which is about on the 30th, the gubernatorial and then the House of Assembly have opportunity to, the parties have opportunity to replace substitute names of candidates. And then following that same timeline, the presidential and national election campaign, National Assembly election campaign began yesterday. And then in the fortnight, the governorship and the State House of Assembly election will begin, just in line with the 2010 Electoral Act as amended, and working towards February 16th and March 2nd for both elections respectively. Be that as it may, from what we saw yesterday, the launching of the new level of the President Muhammadu Buhari's team, himself and Osibanjo, was saying what they said they have done. I was saying what they said they would do if they are given the mandate, if they are re-elected for another 4 years. Today, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, at noon will also be presenting his own policy statement. The document he calls Let's Make Nigeria Work Again. Other candidates are already throwing up their policy statement. We have a candidate from Edo State here, Pastor David, Reverend David Esosaze-Yamu, who is of the BNPP, Better Nigerian People's Party. He will also be doing his own launch in a couple of days. So we look at all of them, and say Nigerians cannot decide who they want to vote for. For me, nobody should come and deceive us with the name of any political party. Oh, that APC has done this, APC will do this, or PDP was there for 16 years. There's nothing. Nobody should deceive. Okay, well, I cannot be deceived. I'm going to look at individuals. I'm not going to vote across board. I'm not going to encourage people to vote across board. When I'm doing my political enlightenment and education, I'm not going to educate them to vote across board, because it may be disservice to certain individuals if you tell them to vote across board, because certain individuals may not be in a particular political party. They may be in another political party, and they may do better than some other persons in that political party. So you have to enlighten people and advise Nigerians. But for politicians who are members of political parties, they can campaign in the name of political parties. But as a Christian, who also have responsibility over my family and over the church that I pastor, and of course have the responsibility to guide and lead about the Christian youth, both at the PFN level and the CAN level in Edo State, I have responsibility to guide them appropriately on what to do.
All right. Thank you so much for your opening. Let me come to you, Leo. What's your feelings about all this?
Oh, well, now with the commencement of the campaigns, as Pastor Gentleman has laid very good foundation for this discourse, I think that the campaign is a major aspect of electioneering in any country, because it also goes a long way in determining how voters will perhaps go with their votes on the day of election. It's also about politicians themselves reaching out to the electorate, eligible voters, soliciting their votes, when election day comes. That said, I think campaign is a very serious business, particularly in this part of the world. All stakeholders, it's a call to duty for all stakeholders, not just the politicians themselves. See a situation where the politicians, in the course of reaching out to the electorate for votes, they do so many things. For me, our expectation is that we do not expect politicians to play against the game, the rules of the game, because for any game, for any exercise like this one, there are rules. I will expect politicians to stick to the rules. As Pastor has rightly put it, we do not expect hate speeches. You also alluded to that, in the course of your introductions. We do not expect hate speeches. Focus should be on, your manifesto. What do you want to do for Nigerians? What do you want to do for your constituency? If you are a governor, you are seeking the position of a governor, what do you want to do for the state? You must itemize them, make them clear. It's not just enough to tell them what you want to do. It's not the time for rhetorics. Don't tell them you want to air condition all the streets and build skyscrapers everywhere. Whereas you are not also bringing in pari passu how you tend to raise the fund, the resources. To do that, politicians should don't play on the intelligence of the electorate, because that way, when you deceive the people, you get into power, you find yourself fumbling and wobbling, and at the end of the day, you are not able to deliver on your promises. So it is good that politicians, during the period of campaign, bite as much as they can chew when they are elected into office. Don't tell electorate what you cannot do. So there's the need to think through your manifesto, think through your plans for the electorate, for the society. By the time you get to power, you are able to actualize that. And then, in sticking to the rules of the game, do not, carry out actions that will undermine the other candidates, your opponents. Do not be involved in violence. Because in the past, we have seen what happened in the case of Akioma Borio in the days of UPN, NPN, you know, the Second Republic. We saw the kind of conflagration that engulfed some states, in this country, as a result of campaigns, you know. So we do not expect such. And I expect that politicians should borrow a leaf from the golden words of one of our former presidents, Goodluck Jonathan, who said that his ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. So that, for me, it should be the mantra for any politician seeking any elective office in this country today. Your election is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. So people should imbibe that message very strongly, because immediately after the election, during the campaigns, the man kept on, you know, saying that. And then at the end of the campaign, at the end of the election, he lost out to Muhammadu Buhari. What did he do? He pulled a call across to Buhari and congratulated him. You know, that's in the spirit of good sportsmanship. So I expect that all politicians seeking elective office during this period of campaign should just borrow a leaf from that, you know, respected former leader of this country.
All right.
And then that said,
okay, now you just hold on. I know you have so much to say. I'll come back to you now. You just hold on. He talked about rules governing campaigns. He talked about rules also politicians should follow. But there's this complaint in some climes that the rules are tilted in favoring certain political parties. Do you have that same perception?
Ordinarily, when rules are made, rules are supposed to be a leveler for everybody. Yeah. That's laws. Laws are levelers for everybody. It holds true anywhere, anytime. But because of the kind of society we live in, where the power of incumbency is factored in to the disadvantage of those who are not in power, of course the rules are bent and tilted more in favor of the people in power. For example, the office of the president of this country is a very powerful office. It will take a godly person not to abuse that office. To take, if somebody who really have the mind of God, not to abuse it. Like he mentioned, in 2015, the former President Goodluck Jonathan, as at the time the results were being announced, and he considered defeat to President Muhammadu Buhari, or General Muhammadu Buhari as he then was, he was still the commander-in-chief. He actually have the right to fire the INEC chairman right on the spot because of the office he occupies. So it will take someone who is godly to follow the rules to the end. And that's what we must encourage politicians to know, that power is transient. Even if you want to abuse the process, eventually you have to obey the constitution that says your tenure is for 4 years, if at most another 4 years, 8 years. 8 years won't be forever. It will soon be over. Of course, you will now be called into account to come and give account of your stewardship. So even overzealous chief executives of organizations owned by government, like the media, who will over-censor themselves because they want to favor the people in power, or even security agencies. You see them abusing their privileges and rights and bending the rules to favor the people in power, just to curry favor from them. But they also must know, like Abacha and his team did, that this power is not forever. So that's what usually happens. So politicians and those in position of authority must realize that you cannot be there forever. You are there today, you won't be there tomorrow.
You're there today?
Yeah, you'll be there tomorrow.
You won't be there tomorrow. Now, still talking about rules. Rules were on the ground already in previous elections, and Nigerians are not so happy about how it played out. Like what is said of Brazilia's media outfits, from Brazilia's security personnel that want to do one or two things to get favor from the ruling party, thereby bending or breaking the rules. Do you see it happening in course of this campaign period?
Well, I do not want to be an apostle of doom. I do not expect that that should happen. My expectation is that security agencies should understand the fact that they are instruments of service. The weapons they wield and they carry around, the vehicles they ply around, were in the first instance bought with Nigerian public taxpayers' money. It is not their property. It's not the property of those in power today. And as we have heard, power is transient. You might just be walking to say, oh, the man in power today will remain there, will do everything to force the person there. But it could just happen the other way, that the person will not win. What do you do then? Do you now start going to hide from the man who has won? You know, so that's why you must understand that the best bet for you as security agency, even as Independent National Electoral Commission, the umpire, is for you to respect the rules as much as you can. Be patriotic. Your loyalty, your allegiance first is to Nigerians, to the Constitution, not to individuals, to the people of Nigeria. Your allegiance is not to individual, because by the time you go off your way to begin to please certain powers, certain individuals, you never can tell how God operates. It could also backfire on you. So there are a whole lot of lessons to learn from those who had perpetrated such in the past and those who chose to toe the line, you know, of patriotism, of honesty, you know, because there's always a reward. If you do evil, if you perpetrate evil, you can celebrate. Your celebration will be but for a while. But if you live honestly, if you discharge your duties in a very honest manner, in a very patriotic manner, you know, with the people of Nigeria at the back of your mind, with God at the back of your mind, you will do it the right way. But if you don't, you may run against the tide. That's also one risk you'll be running. You'll be running against the tide. We have seen that in different parts of the world, where you think that, oh, because you are head of a particular organization, let me bring down, even in the media. We have seen instances in the past, whereby because government in power is just there today, and then because it's 100% owned by the public, you begin to, all your publication is towards, you know, the government in power. What happens if the other party wins? You now start singing a new song. You see, that doesn't tell well of the integrity of the individual. And that's why you see very often high mobility, you know, in CEOs in such organizations. So for me, the best thing for anyone to do is to toe the path of honor, toe the path of integrity and patriotism. And that's what will help us to have a very peaceful campaign, very peaceful election. So when you play by the, so if you use a public media, for instance, to begin to undermine another aspirant to that position, that is very bad. Public funds, your salary, everything is being paid by public funds, and then you are using the media to bring down another candidate. That shouldn't happen. We don't expect that that should happen. Give them level playing ground. Give all those CEOs, the umpires, all these things. That's why I say a lot of stakeholders are involved in this. All stakeholders should give everybody fair opportunity. Listen to all. Then you should now bring up your discerning mind, your discerning spirit, to now know who is fooling who here, who is deceiving who here. So that's why it will be good for Nigerians to shine their eyes during these campaigns. Don't allow somebody to come and fool you this time around. And the issue of vote buying. Nigerians should be weary of collecting money. Because this is the time. They will come with onions. They will come with bananas. They will come with tubers of yam. They will come with rice. This is Christmas season. They will come with all kinds of things. Vegetable oil. They will say, just collect. But when the time comes, vote for us.
All right.
But you never can tell.
Now that is another campaign strategy. We'll come to that. Now you just hold up onions, vegetable, rice, salt. You just name it. But you mentioned something before you went into gift items. Now let's take a look at the media, because we're going to thrash this one at a time. Talking about following the rules, the media. In course of previous elections, you get to hear some media outfits saying we can take political jingle from this party, and we can't take from this, especially from the ruling party. You get to see a state-owned media saying, look, we just can't take from this person. And you get to hear candidates complaining, why won't you air my jingle? Yeah. So how do you feel about this? Do you see it happening in this?
Well, of course, it will still happen. That's why I said earlier that it will take a godly person not to abuse the office of the chief executive of the nation or the state. Because the director general of any federal media agency or the general manager of a state media house holds his office at the pleasure of the state chief executive or the president. So, and if the chief executive of the state does not have a godly mindset, is to give instruction through the Commissioner for Information or the SSA media, I don't want this jingle. And you, as a chief executive of a state media house, you have no choice. And you know Nigerians don't resign. And possibly these are civil servants. These are career civil servants.
Don't resign.
These are career civil servants who are putting like 30 or 30 something years and waiting for retirement. Of course, you have to protect your job and all the rest. That's what usually happens. But that's why we thank God that there are independent media houses like the one we are using now to air our view. I have been in state media houses where I couldn't discuss on things freely, and because it's a government media outfit, you couldn't just say it. As potent, as truthful as those things are, you can't just say it. Not because you're scared of saying it, but because you want to protect the job of the CEO and possibly the anchor of the program who has invited you and all the rest. I've been on a program, and shortly as the program was ending, there was a call from NBC. That's also another issue. NBC, which is a federal government regulatory agency or federal government controlled regulatory agency. There was a call from them, which was almost landing the CEO or the anchor of that program into problem. Myself and my team members who were on that panel have to go straight to NBC, their zonal office in Benin, somewhere at Agoba, or something, to go and put the facts before them and all the rest. So things like that, over regulation, over censorship, all happens. But I think that everyone should play according to the rules of the game, because this campaign, for me, it should be a matter of issues. It should be a matter of issues. If you tell us you are going to take us to the next level, you are going to make Nigerians work again, at what level? At what level? We can take it sector by sector. Roads. You want to construct roads. How many have you constructed now? The time you had the opportunity, how many roads did you construct? And why do you want me to trust you that you're going to do better than what you did before? So that's why I said Nigerians should not be bamboozled or deceived using the name of a political party, because we have now come to realize that the political parties are all the same. For example, yesterday I watched on a national TV the Minister of Transportation talking about the fact that the capital expenditure of the federal government, that 50% of it is in the hand of 2 southern ministers. That is himself, the Minister of Transportation, and then the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Fashola. And that Nigerians are not complaining. But the question I ask, the fact that 2 of you have this powerful 50% of the capital expenditure, Has it translated to anything good in Edo State? This is the state where I reside. The Lagos-Calabar coastal railway line that was promised 4 years ago, have you laid the foundation, talk less of starting construction? So these are the issues Nigerians will be looking at. When you talk about next level, for example, because we're going to also scrutinize Atiku's document when he brings it out today. We don't have access to that document. But I've looked at the document of the APC. It was on TV yesterday, and it was published on the Punch, on the Sun newspaper. 2 pages yesterday. I saw it. I've read through it. When you talk about next level to where? Without power? Without road? I'm situating it in Edo State, and I'm very happy, very just now, that we are not doing governorship election in Edo State, so that we can narrate this thing, analyze this thing very well. You have Empower program, where the government, what part of the component is the government going to give money to women in the market. When will it get to the turn of Edo State? When will it get to the turn of Edo State?
Conditional cash transfer.
Good. You have a school feeding program. After almost 4 years, not one child has been fed in Edo State. And you're coming to tell us to take us to the next level on what? When will it get to our turn? And how come that when you want to talk about cattle village or cattle colony or whatever you want to call it, Edo is one of the 10 pilot states.
All right.
Those are the things Nigerians should be looking at.
Okay.
How come, sir, that the 200 kilometers from Benin, Auchi to Kene Road is not being funded and the work is not going on?
Okay.
4 years.
4 years.
Those are the things we'll be looking at.
All right.
Let Atiku bring his document. We look at it.
Okay, now you just hold on. I'll come back to you on these points you raised. Now, still on the rules, zooming in on the media, what can one do to really prevent this from happening? Because it was like a sing-song everywhere. They refuse to take my jingle, they refuse to end my jingle. They're saying these are not also party. What can one really do to really check this? Talking about the regulators right now of this game.
No, the problem with our country, unfortunately, is that, yes, you have regulators, but how independent are the regulators? Yeah? That is a whole ball of game altogether. How independent are they? And the issue of media
because
ownership.
of course they're also being regulated.
Oh, yes. The issue of media ownership is a different question altogether. Just as you have it in the public media ownership, that is how it is also in the private media ownership. There are certain things right here we cannot begin to say on air, even though it is independent. Yeah? There are certain things we cannot say. So, from one medium to the other, you know, the game is, yes, a little bit different, but essentially the same, because of the way these things have been regulated. You hear my co-panelists talking about how, you know, they received a call from a regulator.
Yes.
You know, so that in itself tells you the story. So, but those who are on the saddle, that's why we have been cancelling them. Those who are on the saddle today should know that they are getting their salaries, your promotion, whatever, via Nigerian people's money, not one individual's money, not the man who may have effected the appointment's money. It's public money. So your loyalty is first to the people of Nigeria. Until we have that mindset, and that's why if you compare what is happening in Nigeria with what can happen in advanced democracies, you will now understand that, yes, this is why there is the need to have strong institutions, strong regulatory institutions. I give you an example. Very recently, Donald Trump, the president of the US, was angry and sent away one of the head of the CNN, you know, crew in White House. What happened? They went to court to say, please, his press card, return it. And the court granted it. And Trump was compelled, you know, to say, oh, even though he was saying it's going to be temporary, perhaps they want to challenge the decision of the lower court, you know, whatever. But at least you can see that, you know, in such climes, a journalist that is functioning in White House, yeah, you say you don't want him there. But if it were to be in Nigeria, even the state governor, he would just write to an independent newspaper house and even a phone call, even his press secretary, that please post away this reporter from here. And the very next minute, the reporter is out. Independent media house, whether print or electronic. You know, so all of these things happen because of weak institutions. And we always, you know, Nigerians are always, we always submit easily. Sometimes because of pecuniary benefits that we get. You know, some of such media houses will easily do that because the governor or whoever will wire some money to the editor or to whoever the owner.
You don't know about wiring of money right now. Let's not talk about what we don't have evidence of. So please.
You know, but this things happen. You know, I have my own media experience as well. Yes. You know, so all of this has happened. And we must know. I'm not particular about any media now, but I'm only explaining to you what happens in the system. Yeah. So it is important that we now begin to take steps to build strong regulatory institutions. That's the point I'm making. Now, in the U.S., if you look at a whole lot of what's happening in the country since the Trump presidency, you know, there are so many things he intended to do, but the strong institutions, you know, they prevent him. Certain things untoward that he want to do, but the institutions will, you know, hold him to say, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do. Yes, you are Mr. President, we respect you, but you can't do this. You can't take this decision. Yeah, but here, just because even body movement, people are already falling in line to body movement. What do you mean by that? You know, so we must learn first to begin to see Nigerian society, Nigerian public institutions as our own, and not by a political party, not by an individual. So you cannot have a political party walk into a media organization, say, use this story, put it in front page. This should be your lead story. A politician come to tell the media man, this must be your lead story. You know, so that happens here. But elsewhere, because of strong regulation, and if you try that to any worker in the media house, he goes to court, take you up, and he gets his right. Even his job, he gets it restored back. You know, so you can't intimidate the worker, the journalist. You can't. But a situation where the journalist or the media operator, you know, they allow themselves to be compromised by the system. That becomes, you know, a problem even for you, the media operator, let alone the employee of, you know, the media house.
Wow. So how do we now make this institution strong, vibrant, and vibrant? When you talked about weak institution, talked about the top senior reporter versus the American president, Donald Trump. And we saw the outcome of the brouhaha, so to speak.
Institutions don't create or run themselves. Strong institutions are created by strong leaders. Our leadership structure as a nation in all spheres are not as strong as you be, because everything rises and falls on leadership. And of course, every society deserves the kind of the leaders they get, because it is the society that throws up the leader. A chain is as strong as its weakest link. So the leader is a product of the society. So that's why we must work harder to make sure that we keep developing individuals who will now become good leaders, and then we can begin to structure and build institutions. But where you find a few folks at the helm of affairs, and then they feel that it's only people they know and people around them that can do things, of course, we're going to keep having problems and problems. Politicians on both, from both sides, whether people in position and people in opposition, they also need to watch their tongue and watch their language. Gutter language, hate speeches should not be what should be the policy thrust of campaign. Because even the media person, this is an independent media organization, there are some statements a politician will make in a political party rally, which of course cannot go on government media house. You two looking at it professionally, you won't allow such statement to go on air. And such person will leave and start complaining that they refuse to allow my jingle to go on air because they want it raw, unedited. And professionally, it's not right. So everyone should be cautious of whatever step we've taken so that we can have a very successful campaign in 2019 as we walk towards 2019 general election, which is about 80-something days to go. But by and large, I think that instead of using gutter language against individuals or against contestants, let's address issues. Let's address issues. That will help Nigerians put a searchlight, like my colleague said, shine your eye well, so that you can know who to vote for. Let nobody baboozle you with grammar or next level mantra or change mantra or make Nigeria work again mantra and all the rest. No, we must look at it. And then we must also look at the people who are contenders in this election and those who are pretenders. We must look at it. Quite honestly, I'll be very honest here. The way it's going, I don't think that anybody who is actually from this part of the region should be contesting this election because I see them as pretenders. Obviously, the two major political parties that have the political clout across the nation to win the presidential election.
Now, but the thing is that many of them will not really agree
Yes,
with what you're saying
yes,
right now because they have the right to say they want to contest
no,
also.
Okay, they can contest. We can have 1,000 people contesting. We have almost 60-something now contesting. There's no problem. I'm talking about the presidential election. Such other parties can do the House of Assembly, the governorship and National Assembly.
So since they have the mind, they have the courage, yes, they can do it if they want to.
There's no problem. But for me, I see this election, the presidential election, between a two-horse race between President Muhammadu Buhari and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And the focus and the searchlight of Nigerians should be on what these two persons are bringing before us, what they have to offer. Fortunately for President Buhari, he's in power and he's had opportunity to show Nigerians what capacity he has to deliver. So we can campaign with those. And it's left for Nigerians to judge. And I'm happy that they're already bringing some of the things to the fore. For example, that we now have more lights than we used to have before. So Nigerians can decide. But that's what it is now.
Yes,
we're talking about the campaigns, the issues that will come up.
Yes.
That's what it is, that we now have more light. So when somebody was in France last week and said about 40 million Nigerians have mental problems, it's not difficult to know. Because the man who is saying we have more power supply should be one of those 40 persons. For real.
Okay, hold on. No blows below the belt. No blows below the belt. All right. That is their own opinion about saying that 40 million Nigerians have
somebody says
so. Yes, someone said that, but Nigerians refused that statement and said, look, we are mentally sane.
Who says so, sir?
Nigerians are reacting to it already. Nigerians are reacting to it already. So that person have the right to say whatever he wants to say, and Nigerians have the right to react to the statement.
You are the young man. I just want to believe.
Yeah. So Nigeria is saying, look, we are mentally stable. All right. Forget about that report from the man in France. Let it go.
No, the man that went to France.
Whatever. Let's leave that story right now because I don't like the way it's going. You know what I'm talking about? We have to follow rules and regulations. Thank you, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Now let me come to you. If you talk about the electronic media and of course the print media, you can't overrule the social media.
That's where I'm going to now.
All right.
That a lot happens now in the social media. And those who are active in the social media during this period of campaign must be wary or must be circumspect of the kind of materials they receive and the kind of materials they circulate. You know, because this time there'll be a whole lot of mudslinging, backjabbing, backstabbing, backbiting, you know, concocting of if things that don't exist, people can do photoshopping, photo cropping, and mix them. So people should be careful what you receive, what you read, what you digest, and what you circulate. Because very often, people just get to read after reading, without giving a deep...
Some don't even read. They just forward.
They just forward. Once they just see it, it just goes to the next person. So that in itself is something that we really need to guard, against during this period of campaigns. to some, once there is this campaign, there is some kind of incubation zone they go to develop all of these things. There are some people who are very good at, busting into people's phone. You uninvited, you see someone's number in your WhatsApp group or your WhatsApp list, and suddenly it starts, transmitting certain information to you. So such groups, what you do, you block. You block, even on Twitter, you also block them, so that you don't continue to receive such information that you didn't, solicit for. So this is the period that people will begin to receive unsolicited information. So it is important that you also use your own mind to know that this is unsolicited, and then what you do, you block so that you stop receiving, so that your mind will not be polluted. Because very often, if you begin to go through one particular information over and over again, you may begin to be tempted to believe that, oh, this is a fact, which may not be correct. So that is why we must all be on our guard, particularly what we receive in this. And then they should also know that there are also regulations for the social media. So there are certain things you do, you could run yourself into trouble. Yeah? So people must be careful what they receive and what they circulate, so that you don't also run yourself into some kind of trouble during this period.
All right. During the last election, so about 2015 election, according to report, the social media played a vital role in that election that saw the emergence of the ruling party. Do you see the social media having that same power in this election?
Of course it does. And you see, that's the unfortunate thing about some individuals or some organizations. Like you mentioned now, it aided the incumbent party to come to power. But afterwards, several attempts were made through the National Assembly to even stop the usage of social media to an extent. Graciously, that attempt didn't succeed. Most of the information that will be disseminated in this campaign, I can assure you, to come to the social media. Because I don't have to buy a newspaper now or watch a TV. From my phone, on my WhatsApp, from my internet, I can have access to all of those information. It's going to be more powerful than ever before, because that's the age we are in.
Yeah.
That's it's the age we are in. The social media has come to stay. Like my colleague said, what Nigerians should be wary of is to ensure that the information that come to you actually filter them very well. A lot of informations are right there. Pictures of people who are double, pictures of people who are dead and living, and all the rest. We must not just take this thing hook, line, and sinker. That's why the government is coming with what they call fake news and all the rest. But unfortunately, those who are campaigning against fake news are actually the ones telling more lies and all the rest. So,
well, you don't have proof of that.
No, we have proof.
You don't have proof of that.
Media person, so you have to censor yourself.
All right. So without proof of that, Pastor,
they are the one telling more lies than even carrying fake news, more fake news and all the rest.
They may define your opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. When you tell me we have more lights than ever before, is that not a lie? That's an obvious lie now. And we should not say it. That's an obvious lie.
And the fake news.
This is fake news. When you say you feed a prisoner with 3.5 million naira, is that not fake news?
Every day.
Every day, every month.
Yes.
3.5 million naira. Is it not fake news? Even the minister who was with him said, if that's what you spend on one prisoner, you have to take me to prison.
Oh, yes.
So is it not fake news? He's giving us fake news. So that's where we are. The people who are fighting fake news are the ones who are generating. In fact, they are the ones who originated fake news.
Oh, but you don't have proof of that they originated fake news.
That's the proof now I'm bringing before you.
No, you just made mention of two situations, two circumstances that Nigerians are reacting to, but that doesn't mean that they are the originators of
it's not
fake news. Could you please just let's leave that point and just
the social media.
Yeah, social media.
The social media.
Yeah.
will play a very, very strong, vital role in this campaign, and Nigerians should take advantage of it. Get the necessary information, filter it, and then of course know who to vote for.
How can they filter?
Yes, you can filter it. You can filter it
because they want to know.
Yes. How do you filter it?
Yeah.
You look at information, you have to check, double check. check through other sources, even check through the mainline media for a news that is likely going to be authentic. When you see it in the social media,
And in the
you are likely going to see it in the mainline media, the TV or the radio or the newspaper. Even the Bible says, at the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, matters are established. But there's a problem. The problem is that when news are on the social media or anywhere, and the government officials who ought to speak are not speaking, then of course you give opportunities for this rumor to keep on going. Government should come up and speak on issues that are sensitive to Nigerians at this season. You need to come up and speak up once you see it. Let Nigerians know the true position, and then we can understand and move on. Then we can now know that this is the official position of government on this matter, and then we can go with it. But when you don't speak, then we'll have a problem. So you now create the opportunity for people to follow the rumor. And like they say, in every rumor, there's an element of truth. So the government should need to speak at all times.
All right, government should need to speak at all times, but mind the way you speak, be you government, parastatals, or be you an individual. Yes, from what he said is true. Someone said they're feeding someone with millions in prison, but we're talking about that now. And someone also said we have more power supply, and Nigerians are like asking, where's the power supply? Yes. Anyway, we're not even talking about that. That's
we're talking about campaign now.
Yeah,
it's part of the thing that formed the campaign.
Analyze what you're telling us.
Well, that is something you need to be very, very careful. You have to know what you put in on the pages of the newspaper, because Nigerians, they are smarter, they are wiser. In fact, they think faster than you think they used to think before. They're like, moving with the speed of light when it comes to thinking process. So if you're out there placing things on the social media, we're watching, we're listening. This goes for all. It cuts across board, all right? I'm not talking about that now. That's why I have to stop pastor from going into it.
I thought we were talking about campaign.
So we're clear. So we're clear. I have my reasons.
No problem.
I have my reasons.
I surrender.
Now, you talked about gift items. You mentioned salts. You mentioned all these food items. Do you see it playing out itself in this season of, almost end of the year, Christmas festivities here and there for campaign?
Yes. This is a Christmas period. This is end of year.
Yeah.
So for those who are not celebrating Christmas, they are celebrating end of year.
Yeah.
All right? Now, this period, there are a whole lot of exchanges, going on across the country. So whether you are Muslim, you are a Christian, you are a traditional worshiper, everybody is celebrating this during this period. And so there is that likelihood that you find exchanges, But there's what you used to call Greek gift. People that you have worked with over the years, who you have related with over the years, you have made exchanges over the years. If they come to you again, you remember, oh yes, this man used to, during Christmas, give me hamper, So you are free to receive hamper from such. But when someone who has never given to you before, he is a politician, either himself is seeking a political position or he is an agent of someone who is seeking political position, suddenly wakes up and he comes to you with rice, tomatoes, or whatever, you should see that as a great gift. Because perhaps he's expecting that by February, you should cast your vote for them when, the election comes. So that is why we must be on our guard. The idea of receiving money, receiving other gifts to cast your vote for a candidate, for an aspirant, the person is buying your conscience. The person is buying your person. So we must stop that for Nigeria to move forward. For Nigeria to grow and develop, we must stop that habit. In the past, I hear people say, now who give me money? Now I go vote for. We shouldn't do that again, because that's what is killing this country. Say, now who give me money? Now I go vote for. No collect money, vote for anybody. Go there, go vote the person where say go fit repair Nigeria. The person where fit repair your village. The person where you go House of Assembly, go talk what you people want for your constituency, for our community. But if you go say, if problem don't our community, now him go talk, say, see us, this problem there. Not collect money from anybody, not collect rice, or head tie, or wrapper, so that you go vote for them. Because this is not the time now where they will come to do all those kind of things. This is the period. They will be coming to do that. They will tell you that they will give you exercise book for your children to go to use in school. They will give you 5 exercise books so that you vote for them. You know, so Nigerians must open their eyes. And when you do that, you have mortgaged your society. So if you don't have electricity, you don't blame anybody. If your road is not tarred, you don't blame. There are some communities. I see there's a particular community I go to. Each time a particular government in power, they are soliciting vote. That community, they are always voting for that government, for that political party. I will not mention their names, and I will not mention the party. But the place is a sorry state. No road. Their school is always submerged in flood whenever it rains. Their health center always in flood whenever it rains. But they keep voting for that government. I wonder, are these people, are they carrying their heads on their shoulders at all? Their head, is it properly screwed? Can they think? This is an opportunity to vote out those characters from power. Because you never can tell. If you get them out, the next government, the next person coming, will say, okay, let's attend to this community. So that is what election is all about. It's not about collecting rice, collecting beans. Some people, just a morsel, a plate of food. They'll just invite them, gather them, they say they cook for them. And then you collect one plate of food on the day of election, just like zombies of Fela Nicolas Bokuti. You just line up and go and vote for them, say, now then cook for us that day. So Nigerians should wake up. Campaigns have come. So those are the kind of things, those are the kind of patronage. People will be coming to you, say, come, we're organizing a party, we won't see people for that area. They get you a bottle of drink, give you a plate of pepper soup, and that's all, for 4 years. Then after, when it's 4 years, after 4 years again, they come again, they prepare another round of pounded yam, and then plus soup, and then they say, you come and eat. after that, you line up again, you go and cast your vote, they secure another 8 years. And then when they are coming again, with security everywhere, you can't even talk to them, you can't even assess them. Once the election is approaching again, they'll now come. So this is the time for people to begin to interrogate, who are these characters that are coming to us to solicit our vote? Nigerians should position themselves very well now. Say, tell us, what do you want to do for this community? Don't bring your rice, don't bring your beans, don't bring your onions and oil, vegetable oil. Don't bring them here. Tell us, what do you want to do for this community? We are here waiting. If you tell us, let us sign a social contract with you.
All right. Pastor, the Greek gifts.
Thank you very much. Painted a wonderful scenario, the way it ought to be in a sane society. Don't sell your votes. But the reality of the life of the average Nigerian, it is difficult for even the saints, the elect, to say no. We are preaching all of this in church, in meetings, don't sell your votes and all the rest.
Yeah.
But it's even alleged, it was a motion raised at the National Assembly that the money, traders' money, that people they are buying their voters' cards, it was debated at the National Assembly. They raised that motion there. Yeah, that the traders' money that the Vice President is distributing, that they formed the field, that there's the place for voters' card number and all the rest.
Now these are allegations.
Yes, at the National Assembly, it was debated.
Yes.
So that's it could be part of vote buying. But however, a man, Nigeria is the capital, the poverty capital of the world, according to United Nations. The figure is there.
The rating.
Yes. A man who has not eaten good food for days, and a friend invites him for a meeting. it will be difficult for him to start asking, what is it good for? Because a drowning man does not care who rescues him, provided he comes out. We're in a very difficult situation. As much as we tell people not to sell their vote, there are Nigerians who don't have 1,000 naira day to day. Are you aware that the state governor said they cannot pay 30,000 naira per day, per month? I hope you know that 30,000 naira per month translates to 1,000 naira per day. And the 18,000 they are paying is about 600 naira per month, per day. And somebody who earns 18,000, which can barely buy a bag of rice, and prior to the election, somebody gives him half bag of rice, it's difficult for him to resist that temptation. Even the Bible says, lead us not into temptation. So Nigerians are being led into temptation as a result of the level of deprivation and poverty they are suffering. It's good to tell them nobody should collect money. There was even a time we say, collect money and vote your conscience. We discovered that a man who has collected money has no conscience. Yes, he has no conscience. A man who has collected money will have no conscience. That's why the politicians also now devise a means that you take the ballot paper, then you thumbprint, and then snap or show it, and then you come and collect money. So they have devised all of these means to make sure that since Like the bird, that the Honda now know how to shoot without missing, I too will fly without paycheck. So you can't collect my money and vote your conscience. When you collect your money, you show your conscience. So what do? You do that. In the Anambra election, vote buying was there. I don't want to talk about it though. In the Ekiti election, it was there. In the Osun election, as much as they tried to control it, INEC actually came out smoking, they tried to control it. And we saw the way the election went. That even 70% of the people who voted against the ruling party. Look at all the results, both the SDP, the PDP, and all the rest. 70% of those who voted against the incumbent party that has been there for 8 years. However, I think that Nigerians...
No, that was at the first election, for the first election. Second election showed otherwise. No, yeah, so that will be clear.
No, that whatever it is.
So that will be clear.
Even the result of the second election, when you add the total number of those who voted, 70% still voted against.
Let's leave for the umpire. They've talked about their result. Let's leave that at that.
So, yeah, Nigerians should know that it is better to pay now and play later. Better pay now. Because if you don't pay now, you will pay later. If you don't pay now, your children will pay later. Let's take the risk and take the responsibility of ensuring that we vote the right persons into office. Those who have done well, we vote for them for continuity. Those who have not done well, no matter what they bring to us, let's say no to them, to their money and to whatever they are bringing, and then vote the right person or the people we think will do better than them into office, so that 2019, Nigerians can possibly begin to see a better society.
All right, gentlemen, I really want to appreciate you. You're going to take 1 minute each to summarize your points. We're now at electioneering period. You've heard the ruling party, they brought out theirs. The position also will bring out theirs today. So what advice do you have for Nigerians, the electorates, and of course the umpire, the ruling party, opposition? You just name it. Leo, sir.
Well, for me, Nigerians must not allow themselves to be fooled. Even though you are poor, there is dignity in poverty. You should also have some dignity, even while poor. Yeah? You should be able to know when to say no and when to say yes. Do not allow poverty to wipe your brain completely, that you are just at the mercy of whatever comes around you. Yeah. To those who are the main actors, I want to take them back to the words of Goodluck Jonathan, that his election is not worth the blood of any Nigerian.
All right. Thank you so much, Leo. Pastor, 1 minute.
The Nigerian voters will vote based on their convictions on the 16th of February and the 2nd of March. But the umpire, INEC, and the security agencies should please ensure and allow the vote of Nigerians to count.
Thank you so much. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. They've spoken for almost 1 hour now on this issue, lifting of ban on political campaigns, expectations of Nigerians. I have nothing else to say. You've sampled their opinions, you've heard them. It's not left for you to do the right thing. But Nigeria will definitely decide come 2019. Who are you going to decide in favor of? Or who are you going to decide in favor against? It all depends on you. It all depends on me. It all depends on everyone that has 1 or 2 things to do with the electioneering process. Do the right thing.